Welcome to Rise Untold, where the stories behind the spotlight come alive. She never needed a gavel to command a room. She just walked in, and silence followed. Sharp, fearless, unapologetic. For decades, Judge Judy wasn't just a courtroom icon. She was justice, wrapped in wit, fired through truth, delivered with a look that could silence a storm. But what happens when the gavel drops for the last time? Where does a woman like Judy Sheindlin go when the cameras stop rolling? Not into the shadows, because that's never who she was. Born Judith Susan Blum in Brooklyn, New York, she didn't grow up dreaming of TV lights or fame. She grew up dreaming of fairness, of clarity, of right and wrong. In a world full of noise, she made sure the truth was louder. She was one of the few who didn't need to raise her voice, because her words cut deeper than most people's shouting ever could. As a young prosecutor in the family courts of New York, she saw the pain that doesn't make headlines. Mothers losing custody, children falling through cracks, families breaking in front of her eyes. And she didn't blink. She worked. She fought. She told the truth, even when it stung. Especially when it stung. She never wanted to be liked. She wanted to be respected. And America didn't just respect her. They watched her religiously. Judge Judy became the most watched court show in history, not because of drama, but because of her. Millions tuned in, not just to see justice, but to feel it. Real, raw, ruthless at times, but honest. And then, after 25 years, she walked away, but not into retirement, because Judy doesn't retire. She redirects. She stepped into a new chapter with Judy Justice, a streaming show that proved something critical. Power doesn't age. Even in her late 70s, she didn't slow down, didn't soften her voice, didn't play small. And in 2025, she still hasn't. Now in her early 80s, she remains one of the wealthiest, most influential women in television history. A symbol not of fame, but of focus. She's taken a quieter seat, yes, out of the public courtroom and more into private life. But even silence feels powerful when it comes from her. She still writes. She still advocates. She still invests in young voices, especially women who want to enter law. She mentors. She teaches. And when she speaks, the world still listens. Her wisdom now shows in quieter ways, in foundations, in scholarships, in the fierce encouragement of the next generation of truth-tellers. Because Judge Judy didn't just build a legacy of rulings. She built a legacy of fearlessness, of standing your ground, of saying what others are too afraid to. And now, her name, her presence, carries the weight of generations of women who grew up believing, I can be strong, I can be loud, I can be heard. Even in this new chapter, her life is a message. You don't stop being powerful because you get older. You just become more precise in how you use that power. She doesn't need a bench anymore. She doesn't need a camera. She doesn't need applause. She already changed the game. Now she's helping others find their voice, to change theirs. So where is Judge Judy now? She's where she's always been. 2 steps ahead, unapologetically herself, and absolutely unstoppable. And maybe, if she could rise from a Brooklyn girl with a big voice, with nothing but ambition in her eyes and a fire in her chest, to the most powerful woman in daytime television, to a symbol of grit, of resolve, of raw, unfiltered truth, then maybe, just maybe, you can too. Because it was never about perfection. She never pretended to be flawless. She never aimed to please. She aimed to stand. In a world where so many dilute themselves just to fit in, she chose to sharpen her edges, to be bold, to be fierce, to be heard. And that choice changed everything. She didn't rise by being everyone's favorite. She rose by being unshakable, by being real, by trusting that her voice, however sharp, however different, deserved to echo. So ask yourself, what if you stopped trying to be perfect? What if you stopped waiting for permission? What if you started standing up, even if your voice shakes? Even if your truth offends? Even if they don't clap? Because here's the secret. Greatness was never about applause. It was about persistence. Judy didn't just outlast her critics. She outgrew them. She rose beyond the noise, above the hate, past the doubt. And if she can go from a young Jewish girl in post-war Brooklyn, surrounded by expectations, boxed in by norms, to a television powerhouse with her name etched in history, then so can you. Because what she taught the world wasn't just about courtrooms. It wasn't just about rulings or one-liners. It was about courage. The courage to be unpopular. The courage to call it out. The courage to look someone in the eye and say, "No, I will not be quiet. I will not be small." We live in a world that tells you to shrink, to soften, to apologize for being strong. But she was the living reminder. Strength is not shameful. Clarity is not cruelty. Power, when held with integrity, is a gift. And maybe that's the greatest rise of all. Not the one that gets the headlines. Not the one that breaks records. But the rise that happens when you refuse to back down from your truth. When you learn that your voice isn't too much. It's just what the world needs. So if you've ever been told you're too intense, too honest, too difficult, remember her. She didn't bend. She didn't break. She didn't dim her light to comfort others. She shined, even when they flinched, especially when they flinched. And that shine, that fire, it never left her. Even now, away from the stage, away from the cameras, it still burns, still guides, still inspires. Because some people leave a legacy you can measure in awards and dollars. But hers, you measure it in impact, in changed minds, in empowered voices, in every young woman who dares to speak louder because she saw Judy do it first. So this moment, it isn't just about where she is now. It's about what she left behind and who she paved the way for. She built a world where truth has a seat at the table, where strength has a face, where justice doesn't wear a mask. And if you've made it this far in her story, if something inside you stirred, if a fire began to flicker, then don't let it go out. Don't doubt it. Don't silence it. Feed it. Let it grow. Because maybe, just maybe, you're not meant to fit in. Maybe you're meant to stand out, to speak up, to shake things, the way she did, the way she still does. Not for attention, not for approval, but because the world needs truth more than it needs comfort. It needs your strength more than your silence. And if she could carry that weight, if she could walk through decades of criticism, doubt, and scrutiny, and still hold her head high, then so can you. You don't need to wear a robe. You don't need a bench or a studio. You just need one thing: conviction, the belief that your voice matters, that your story matters, that you matter. Because this isn't just about Judge Judy. It's about every single person who thought they had to be quiet to survive. It's about proving them wrong. So wherever you are right now, at the beginning, in the middle, or feeling like you're at the end, remember her rise. And remember this: you don't have to be loud to be powerful. You just have to be clear. You just have to be you, unapologetically, unshakably, relentlessly. This is not just where she is now. This is the rise of someone who never stopped. And maybe, if she could, then maybe you can too. Thank you for watching Rise Untold, where the stories behind the spotlight come alive.